Hey Transformers fans, how are you? Coming at you again with another video review, this time taking a look at Autobot Ratchet from the Transformers Studio Series line. And this is basically his movie 1 appearance in terms of his deco and coloring and all that. I really like it. Deluxe class. I did have the Dark of the Moon Ratchet way back when, but just in my ebb and flow and in my collecting, just wasn't overall totally happy with that particular figure, so I sold him a while back. So I was without Ratchet for quite a while, or at least movie Ratchet for a while. But when this came out, I really liked the improvements that they made on the mold and the updated deco. So I felt like now was the time to pick him up and add Ratchet back into my collection. So here he is. Taking a look at the box quick, you can see a nice picture of Ratchet there with his medical or war saw, depending on what he's doing. Nice picture of Ratchet's face on the side. The box is very much in line with previous movie style figures, especially the last year or so. You can see, take a look at Ratchet in his robot mode and his alt mode. Again, he's got the green and the red deco from movie 1. He's that really kind of cool fire rescue ambulance Hummer vehicle. And a nice view of Ratchet in his robot mode. You can sort of see some of the differences between the Dark of the Moon mold and this, but they are very, very, very similar. Some of his other wave mates, the 3 other deluxes, we've got Bumblebee, we've got Stinger, and Crowbar. The movie backdrop display, which is, it's nice if you've got the room for it or want to display it, but my shelf space is pretty tight, so I'm just going to kind of keep that in the box. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for packaging. Looking at the figure itself, you can see that there is more paint apps in some places on this guy. This kind of guy's kind of an interesting anomaly in terms of Studio Series, because there's more paint apps in some places and then there's fewer in others. Obviously on the legs, there's a lot more paint in the silver and the the dark gray that's in there. The headlights are all painted. His saw is a nice shiny silver. He's got nice deco on the labels and the striping and everything like that. But when you come to his face, he actually has less paint on his face than the Dark of the Moon did. He really should have, it's a nice head sculpt, but he really should have, more silver, like just above his eyes and whatnot, which obviously I can fix with some paint. That's not a problem. But, a couple of more silver touch-ups on his face and it would have been a lot better. And another thing that obviously you're going to notice immediately that is a difference from the Dark of the Moon is, in spite of the fact that they share almost an identical transformation, they decided to not split the roof rack in half like they did on the Dark of the Moon, and which used to fold up very, very neatly for, as far as a movie backpack goes. And now that you've got this big thing hanging down on his back, which, it's not that obtrusive because it's, but it's like, it's one of those things that they had it right the first time and then decided to change it for the worse on this mold, which I don't understand why. They made other improvements, but then they made this and it looks stupid. Like they really should have just kept that part of the transformation the same, and it would have been a lot better. Anyway, so there are a couple of differences in terms of the transformation that I'll get to, but first I want to just show off some scale. So he is, sort of a typical, recent movie size deluxe. He is smaller than previous movie versions, like the Revenge of the Fallen, or I don't know. I don't think we got a Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Ratchet, but he's just sort of smaller relative to those older movies, but the newer ones he fits right in. And just to give you sort of an example of how he fits with some of the movie figures that I've got. So there's Deluxe-class Berserker from the Last Night, Deluxe-class Barricade from last night, and then just as it's sort of an older reference, I do have my Deluxe Bumblebee from Dark of the Moon. So as you can see, Bumblebee is either too big for this scale or the rest of the guys are too small. But if I had the new Studio Series Bumblebee and put them next, then they would fit really well. But I don't know if I'm really going to pick that up. The reviews on it haven't been great, and I really like this particular Bumblebee, so I'll probably just keep this guy in my collection as my movie Bumblebee. But anyway, just an idea on how he fits. So those guys get out of the way. And one more scale comparison, just because I love showing off this figure because he's awesome, is my modded and repro labeled Last Night Voyager Optimus. And these two guys look awesome together. It's a shame that we never saw this version of Optimus with this version of Ratchet, because obviously some bad stuff happened to Ratchet at the beginning of Age of Extinction. But the two of them on the shelf, they look really, really nice. So definitely happy with this pair. Getting into the transformation, like I said, it shares a lot of similarities to Dark of the Moon. So it's not going to be too long of a transformation review, but first off, take this little saw blade off there, and it does. I like these simple movie accurate accessories. I'm a big fan of keeping things the way that they appeared in the screen. So the fact that they gave him a cool saw blade, which he used to I think chop off one of Brawl's arms or something, or yeah, I think one of Brawl's arms he chops it off with in the first movie. So that's kind of cool that he added that in there, and it fits on either one of his wrists. His hands are a little funky, where he's got sort of a reverse thumb on the bottom, or a reverse pinky. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it, but I'm not sure really why they did that, because it doesn't really add a lot of stability to holding the weapon, because it doesn't even touch the weapon. So I don't understand why they would do that either, but there it is. So you take that off. And the first thing that I usually do is I start with the shoulders. And one of the differences that you'll see with the shoulders versus the Dark of the Moon is that they actually have these kind of pivoted wheels that rotate around to give him the shoulder lights that he had in the movie that he didn't have on any of the on the previous Deluxe. But what you have to know is when they come out of the box, they're not pegged in. So it's very, very loose and floppy when you pull it out of the box. What you got to do is, you see there's a tab right on the bottom of that, and there's a slot right in the back of that behind the wheel. So if you kind of maneuver it so that you can peg those in and push it in, then the shoulder is held together very, very tightly, and it makes it nice and solid. So just be aware of that when you pull it out of the box, that it'll probably be very floppy. You just got to put that in there, and then it holds it all together. So yeah, take those out, flip them around, close up his chest panel, and then you can kind of separate the chest from the body, and pull up the backpack and kind of start to fold that out a little bit. That's just kind of where I would leave it for now. Rotate this 180 degrees all the way around, and then just like in the Dark of the Moon, you got to turn the head so that you're not having the head sticking out of the front of the vehicle. And then you rotate that around so that you've got the front of the vehicle all in one piece. Yeah, then the hands kind of go backwards like that. This folds around like that. Again with the hand, that folds around. This folds around, just like on the Dark of the Moon. And then you've kind of got the front of the vehicle almost ready. Then these just kind of hinge, collapse on itself. And then you kind of got to move the grill out of the way and tuck the front piece in. Get it under there. So it's a flexible plastic, so you're not going to break it, but just don't push it too far. And you kind of got the front of the vehicle ready to go. Now for the legs, you first off fold the kind of knees up, and then these flaps you just kind of pull up there. And then the feet, you want to, let's see, how do I do it? Oh yeah, so you rotate it in, and you tilt it. Oh, why can I never remember how to do this? Ah, yes. So you basically rotate the feet so that they look like that. And this is the right one for the transfer. And then you just fold it up. And, oh, no, I don't have that wrong. What am I doing here? Ah, yes, so these go like that. Oh, why can't I get these feet going on here? What is the problem? Oh, yes. Oh, geez. Duh. So, sorry about that, but this is how they go. They go like this, so that the feet kind of fold in. If you can see it like that. Just got to fiddle with it a little bit. It's not terribly intuitive, that particular part of the transformation. Then you just kind of close this down. cinch everything in. And then there are tabs sort of all over the place that you gotta line up. Like there's one under the grill, or under the, I think it's already in there. Top piece, you gotta fit that in. And then there's one on either side of the light bar that pegs into the top of the vehicle. Just gotta get those in. There's one there on either side of the wheels. You gotta try and peg those in. And then these side flaps, so that clips down at the back. And then these side flaps are a source of contention with collectors because some of them pop, stay in very well, and others just pop out all the time. And you can kind of see that there is a little bit of a misalignment there. Like it pops out super easy, and if you don't get it aligned just right, some of the panels just don't line up 100%. So just be aware. You got to really kind of squeeze them all together. However, when you get it all together, it is a good looking emergency vehicle look. I like it. Would have been nice if they added a little bit of paint, just like on these ones, to the lights at the top there. But more or less, he looks good. And I'm happy with it. So yeah, that's my look at Studio Series Deluxe Ratchet. It's a nice figure. If you either did not get the Dark of the Moon figure, or like me, we're 100% happy with it. This is it is an upgrade, but if I had the Dark of the Moon figure right now, probably what I would do is I would just take the weapon from this guy and put it on the Dark of the Moon one. But both are good figures. Both are almost identical. It's just a sort of, do you prefer the different deco on this guy for movie 1 accurate? And I think that I do, which is why I got him. Yeah, overall, if you liked the Dark of the Moon Deluxe, then you probably like this guy because he's got a few refinements that make it a little bit better. So yeah, Studio Series Deluxe Ratchet. Thanks very much for checking it out, and I'll be back at you again with another review soon.